Welcome back at 7:14. Louisiana high schools are now required to teach a lesson about organ donation. It's how the family of organ donor Aliye Ringe is turning their tragedy into a lasting legacy. It's called the Aliye Ringe Resolution, and there's actually a law now in her honor. This morning, Ms. Leah Veck, Aliye's grandmother, is here to tell us about the decision and how it has inspired this new law. Ms. Veck, good morning. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
So I know this is a really difficult topic to talk about, and you have her picture here, but tell us a little bit about your granddaughter and unfortunately the tragedy that took her away from you guys.
Aliye loved life. Aliye was a 20-year-old vivacious young lady. She was in a tragic car accident on December 21st, and she passed away on Christmas Day.
Oh, wow.
And she donated 6 organs and gave 5 families Christmas miracles.
Wow.
Yes.
I know that's got to be so many emotions, knowing that your beautiful granddaughter that you lost on Christmas Day, and I'm so sorry for that, saved all of these other families' loved ones.
Yes, she did. She did.
It's
a selfless act.
It really, really is. And based on what you all went through with Aliye, what was it that inspired you all to push to have this law created in her honor, and what does this law mean? I mentioned it in the introduction there, but tell us what high schools will now be teaching because of what your family's done.
Okay. Well, what inspired me to get this law passed was I'm an educator. I've taught for 46 years, and I didn't know a lot about organ donation. I was not an organ donor until my granddaughter died. And I realized that it was needed, education. Students go to the OMV and they're simply asked, do you want to be an organ donor, yes or no? It's a very important decision. Most people don't know all the facts. And so that's why I went to the legislature and got this law passed in honor and memory of my granddaughter, so she can save lives, so I can help save lives. I want to live like Aliye. Yes.
And I was going to say, so now Louisiana high schools will be required to teach about organ donation, and in order for students to graduate, right as of now, they'll have to take this lesson in some way, shape, or form. Is that right?
Yes. It became effective August 1st, 2023, and every high school in the state of Louisiana has to teach a lesson on organ donation in a course that is required for graduation.
And,
yes.
And again, you guys have learned so much, saved so many lives with Aliye, and now you're going to save so many more lives because people, like you said, will be educated on the facts.
Yes.
And I love that you pointed that out. They're kids walking into the OMV and asked a question that seems really like, what? What are you talking about? And you're kind of put on the spot. So they'll go in now knowing what that means.
What that means. They will be educated so they can make an educated decision. And they can teach their parents as well, because a lot of older people were not educated, just like me. And so it's important to share your decision with your family. And so as they're doing that, they can teach their parents.
Ms. Leah, before we let you go here, where can people go for more information on this law, on becoming an organ donor?
They can go to the LOPA website and learn all about organ donation, and they can actually register to be a donor on that website.
Well, Ms. Leah, we thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you for sharing your story. Bless your family for all you're doing, and hopefully this educates so many more people, not only in Louisiana, but across this country about organ donation.
Thank you so much.